store. They're amongst everyone. I know I'm just working with some dogs. No one's really looking my way, but anyone at the grocery store.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know the grocery stores, obviously all of the hospitals, you know, I mean, and it's just, you know, what really just upsets me too is like, it's the very low paying jobs right now are the ones that are keeping this country alive. So, and, you know, there's something to be said for that. But another thing is really quick before we get off this COVID thing, Jen, what you're like super populated. How is Toronto?
It's not terrible. But my cousin and my brother both live downtown Toronto, and they've said like nobody's out and about. Like there's people at the grocery store and stuff like that, but people aren't just out like wandering the streets for the fun of it. My cousin's actually a real estate agent, and he said like they're not doing showings or anything. If people want to look at a place, they went the other day, and only because the house is already empty that he went in to look. But like him and another agent went, and like masks, gloves, everything. Like he's like, you don't see anybody down.
But what are the numbers there? Because it's so populated. Did they have a lot of cases? I think you guys, like, it was way better than ours.
The majority of our cases in Ontario are nursing homes.
So, yeah, that's what's happening here too.
They're just taking off like wildfire. It's really odd. Quebec has like double the cases we do, which I'm not sure why. I don't know if that many more people visit there just because it's closer to New York, maybe. They see more travel between the two. But they're really, really bad. But then some of the East Coast provinces are talking about already reopening up because they've got it all under control and they're not seeing any. We've been pretty well stable the last week as far as new cases starting. So
okay, that's good. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, yeah, the big cities are having a lot of trouble just because of population. But I mean, you know, everyone's got different opinions, and I'm like, I don't know, open up and you know, these low case areas, and then just people that have a weak immune system just don't go out. But I guess that kind of sucks though, because like if you have to go to work once they reopen, I don't know if you're older or whatever. So I have no idea. But Jen, do you have any news stories over there? I know you've got some notes. So we'll get to, I mean, it's so hard to find stupid news right now.
Yeah, there's just because nobody's out and about. It's like entertainment news. Like none of the celebrities are out. There's just nothing going on. But because we're still kind of talking about COVID, did you hear about the woman that woke up in the body bag?
Oh my God. Yeah, where was that?
What?
Yeah, they legit.
They thought she was dead and they put her in a body bag and she woke up?
Yeah. That's right.
Oh my God.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's yes, they did. So
that is
anyway,
the creepiest, most horrible feeling. Oh my God.
So we were
San Fernando.
San Fernando, yeah, that's outside of LA.
Yeah. They said she was dead. They said she had died of cervical cancer, handed the death certificate to her husband and daughter. Undertakers transported what they presumed to be the cadaver to the funeral home, whereupon the body bag started moving.
So not funny.
Oh my God.
So
I am in shock. Oh my God, what a horrific moment in life. Oh my God.
Literally the doctor's quote was, but I tried to revive her.
Yeah, this isn't the first time it's happened. In 2015, a Queens medic mistakenly declared a woman deceased after she shot herself in the head. Then the flabbergasted cops discovered she was still alive while they were transporting her to the hospital to, they had considered her passed away. But I mean, this woman was already like in a bag. But then I was telling Jen, I was like, well, this is where the dead ringer, you know how people like, oh, you're a dead ringer? Well, apparently when they used to bury the bodies in the graveyard, they would tie a string to their finger and leave a bell above ground. So if they did wake up, that they could ring the bell.
Alert someone.
And they would alert. And then that's where the graveyard shift came from, that saying, you're working the graveyard shift, because there was people that would sit in the graveyard all night and just listen for the bells just in case.
Wow.
Can you imagine that job?
Because
weeks came from because they would dig up coffins and there was scratch marks in the coffins.
Right.
People that woke up.
People would go into comas. I mean, they didn't have medicine like they do now, and they just thought they were dead.
Yeah, so you'd prop the person on the dining room table for 3 or 4 days and see if they came to before you feed them.
Let's give Uncle Bob one last shot before we really put him in the ground. You've got 3 days, Uncle Bob. Go.
Yeah, so that's
Uncle
where
Bob's
those
sitting at the table for 3 days waiting for one little finger to flinch and ring the bell.
Oh my gosh. Hey,
right.
What about this 40-year-old woman who was at the playground with her kids and all their friends, and the police had to arrest, told her to get out, and she was screaming and yelling, "You can't take my rights away." Did you guys see that video where
No.
Yeah, so she had her friends videotape her. I mean, this is like the epitome of white privilege right now that I was looking at. She was flipping out, telling them, you can't take me. I refuse to go. She was telling all of her friends, videotape this. So it finally got to the point where they had to put her in handcuffs. Can you guys hear this?
Yeah, go figure. Oh.
We are in uncharted territory right now with trying to stop a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yesterday in Meridian, probably the most publicized non-compliance with the city shutting off public places took place in a park. A 40-year-old Idaho woman was arrested for letting her kids play at the park. At least that was the headline that spread around the country like wildfire. There's also video, several of them, in fact, out there on social media showing short clips of Sarah Brady being led away from the playground in handcuffs. And if you're only seeing those, the headline and those short clips of video, you may not be getting the whole story. Yesterday, there was a planned play date at Kleiner Park in Meridian. Normally, not a big deal. But then Meridian police told us they got 3 separate phone calls about kids playing on the closed playground. Seems the signs and the caution tape blocking it off, they were taken down. So officers showed up to remind them it was closed. Has been for weeks.
All right, well, listen, I'm going to give my own interpretation of what I saw. All right, you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so she shows up on the plane. Listen, I'm going with this bitch has got some white privilege story. And they told her they were arresting her. She was freaking out, okay? They put her in handcuffs. She's screaming, "Don't touch me." She's trying to push back, trying to fight the officer. I was like, you bitch. I'm sorry, if that was an African-American woman, they'd have tased her ass. I was like, are you kidding? Yeah. So basically, I was like, bitch, you need to go home and shut up. And I will send you guys the whole video because I don't know if this guy's trying to defend them. But, it goes back to when a cop tells you to do something, just do it.
That's what happened here as well. There was a guy with his kids. They were rollerblading in the parking lot to a park that had been closed off. The actual park had been. So it's okay to be in the parking lot because we can still go out and walk and stuff. You just can't use the equipment. But there was other people getting in and out of their cars. And I guess this guy and his kids were getting close to people. And the cops pulled in and said, you need to go on the trails or something. You can't just be going in circles here. So the headline was that the guy got ticketed for rollerblading, and same thing. No, it was because he freaked out at the cop, and he's running up to other people, and the whole thing was just a disaster. And he tried to spin it that he wasn't treated fairly or anything, but the guy was just being a jackass.
Yeah.
There was a local skate park where they were skating, and the cops came and said you have to leave, and so as a preventative, so they wouldn't come back, they poured sand into the entire skate park.
Oh
wow!
So they couldn't. So what did the people do when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade? They made it into an off-riding dirt bike. Not kidding. They're like, you can't shut us down. So they went and got their dirt bikes and started riding all on the sand that they poured into the skate park. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, but did you see? It's this little town in Indonesia that they're having a national lockdown. Okay, this little this is like it's a village in central Java. But they've decided to take matters in their own hands. So instead of issuing fines to people, they have ghost patrols. And they are people that are literally dressed up like it's ghosts from Indonesian folklore. And that really is that's like us having probably the clown. What's his name? People dressed up like the Krusty the Clown. It.
From a bozo?
Yeah, like that clown from It.
Ugh.
So they got people dressed
to scare the other ghosts. Oh,
right. So they have volunteers that are dressed up as these ghosts and are going around to scare people and get them to go back into the house if they come out. Like they're not messing around. And I did read another article where I don't know where this is happening, but the police, it's more like a joke though. They're pumping horror music over their loudspeakers and driving down the streets at curfew time. So you will hear
probably because they were freaking people out.
Wow. I think it's funny that you're driving up and down the streets, the cops are, and playing, Can
you imagine, if they were doing Ghostbusters music? That would be amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Hey, what about this one, which Tracy decided to try it at work? The 93-year-old woman who made a sign that said, "I need beer."
Yes,
and stuck it on her window and was photographed holding a Coors Light.
Yes.
And Coors saw that and sent her all these cases of beer.
Kudos to Coors. I wish I could. Yeah, I'm proud of them for that one. Help Grandma out.
Yeah.
Stuck in the house. Give her beer. She's got needs.
Right.
Good for them.
Yeah. So that was a great. I found that to be pretty funny. Another really frightening thing as a mother of 2 daughters, that when they were in their tween ages, the lice. Okay, I had one daughter that no matter when the lice went around the school, they loved her hair. My youngest daughter never got them. It's the most bizarre thing, but
like a moth to the flame, huh?
Yes, I don't know. We were like, oh great, here's the letter about the lice outbreak. She's got them, right? So now they're finding during this virus that there's this super breed of lice that they cannot kill.
It's the corona lice.
It's the corona lice, okay?
It's the COVID lice. It's the new strand.
The new strand of lice. So I don't know if they tried putting Listerine in their hair. All I kept thinking is, thank you, baby Jesus. There's not the corona lice when my daughter was 12, okay? Because I would have had to shave her head. Yeah. And I had talked to so many friends that were like, my kids never got lice. I'm like, oh, they loved my daughter. I do believe that some people, adults don't get them. They don't like our hair.
Was she really good about washing her hair and stuff? Supposedly they love clean hair.
Yes.
If your hair's dirty, they don't touch you.
Thank you. And I'm going to tell you, she's the one that constantly showered, constantly doing her hair. Even at 12 years old, and my little one, I used to have to fight her to take a shower. And they would never go in her hair. So
yeah,
that's interesting. You would think the reverse, but I guess, clean is fresh and tasty, where dirty is oily and disgusting. And
dirty.
Yeah, it's amazing how things don't add up.
Speaking about eating dirt, are we almost done?
Go ahead.
Okay, so instead of doing a fuck, marry, kill today,
I've
got a couple would you rathers.
Would you rathers? Okay.
All right.
Yeah, let's go.
While we're talking about being dirty, would you rather where someone's used underwear
Mm-hmm.
or